This is without a doubt my least favorite DCEU movie, but is it objectively the worst? Let's find out.
You're a smart motherfucker, that's right.
Welcome to the objective review of Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. And in objective review, I break a movie down into 6 categories and assign weights to them depending on the genre to have the most honest, unbiased, objective review as possible. Also stick around to the end so you can get my subjective thoughts on it, which is just from the viewpoint of being a comic book nerd. All right, let's start with the first category of story.
Now that I cut ties with Mr. J, I'm about to learn that a lot of people want me dead. All alone. And at the top of that list is this guy.
Roman Sionis, aka Black Mask, wants to take over Gotham City, and all of these women have pretty much crossed him in one way or another, and they have to band together, and that is pretty much the story. There really is not that much story here. I don't think I could really spoil this movie for you. You don't really come for the story. Like, I think people who really love this movie, I don't think anyone would be like, oh yeah, the story is amazing. I think you love other factors of it. I'm just guessing. But the story was fairly small. I mean, I do think some characters went on some character arcs here and there, but they were fairly just little, I won't call them arcs, they're just more like little bumps. I will say this, it is just pretty interesting being back in the world of Gotham City, seeing things through the lens of Harley Quinn. All right, so story gets a 6.5 out of 10. Next on to emotion.
Psychologically speaking, vengeance rarely brings the catharsis we hope for. Yeah.
I did not feel that much emotion at all in this movie. There's never a time in this movie where I felt like it was tugging on any heartstrings. I feel like this movie didn't really have a lot of heart either. There was just not a lot going on the emotional spectrum for this movie. I didn't feel like anger or joy for these characters. There was just nothing there to really empathize with. So emotion gets a 6 out of 10. Next is on to action.
I wasn't the only dame in Gotham looking for emancipation.
The action in this film is just really, really interesting, to say the least. It's just so, I would say, detailed and so specific for these specific characters, especially Harley Quinn. I mean, you have a lot of scenes with roller skates on them. You have scenes of Harley Quinn taking out pretty much innocent people, but she takes them out in such a Harley Quinn fashion, which looks freaking brutal. But it's beautiful to look at, and it looks violent. Like weirdly violent, but you know they're okay, and great job done there. I think a lot of the action scenes or setups are really well done, but the thing about those is that they're fairly short-lived and they're not as like intricate, I think. There's a couple scenes I did think were really intricate and really good, like good hand-to-hand fighting. Black Canary definitely brought it. I wanted to see more of that. Crossbow Killer, aka Huntress, she had really good scenes, but again, they were just short-lived. Really would like to see those just expanded a little longer. But I can't complain that much about the action. It gets an 8 out of 10. Next is on to comedy.
Oh shit, is that a hyena in a bathtub?
I named him Bruce after that hunky Wayne guy.
And this is interesting because I didn't laugh that much in this movie. I chuckled a lot all throughout, but not that many laughs. Like, I can't really remember a single joke from it or a scene that I just thought, oh, that is hilarious. But again, it kept me engaged, kept me entertained. So comedy gets a 7.5 out of 10. This is on to acting. And this is probably one of the biggest things the film has going for it. I'll say if there was any like X factor with this film, it would be these actors playing these characters. And the thing is, they don't have to stretch that much. These performances, I don't think are Oscar worthy in any sense. There's not that much range there, but they really live in these characters. Margot Robbie does a really great job as Harley Quinn. Her accent is fine. It's definitely a Harley Quinn-ish accent. But most importantly, I love her interaction with all the other characters. Ewan McGregor as Black Mask is maybe one of my favorite villains in a DCEU movie. Is he? General Zod is really great. Now I gotta think about this. Yeah, he's definitely up there, and he is just so like flamboyantly out there, like, and loud, but he just goes from place to place. Really good job. Looks like Ewan McGregor was really having a lot of fun with this role. And also enjoyed Journey Smollett as Black Canary. She looked great. She completely knocked it out of the park. And everyone else did fine. The thing is, I just would have liked more of them. Maybe see a little bit more range. So it's an 8 out of 10. That's on to directing. Now, there are a lot of bold, creative choices in this film. There is no other superhero film like this, which is, I respect highly. Like the director put her stamp on this film. There was a couple choices that I didn't like. The main one I didn't like is that this story is told in a non-linear fashion, which would be okay sometimes, but sometimes there'll be an action scene, and the action scene happens, but you don't know what the purpose of that scene is. You don't know what the weight of it is, and so it just takes away from it until they backtrack and say, oh yeah, this is what that was for. So that, I think, hurt the film a little bit. Visually, it was really good. I don't think the cinematography was amazing, but there's a couple different scenes that I think looked really good and were just really so unique to Harley Quinn. Now, I say this movie is my least favorite movie of the DCEU, but how does it compare to the actual ratings that I've broken down and given to each of the movies? So here's the list of those films, so keep those in mind. All right, so directing gets a 7.5 out of 10, so it comes in at a weighted average score of a 7.1 out of 10, which is, in my belief, the worst film of the DCEU franchise. And the thing is, I liked all these films, so what do I know? All right, on to subjective thoughts. Cassandra Cain was completely butchered in this film. You know, I don't put that into my score because, you know, I try to put that stuff to the side. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm some big, huge Cain fan, but I have read comics with her in there. She is great in those comics, and it is a very huge deviation from her. The thing that I'm disappointed at is that they could have just used her from the comics here. Instead of being a pickpocket, she could just still be a pickpocket, but deadly. Like, she's killing off, you know, random goons here and there. She could have killed off, you know, some of Black Mask's henchmen. Maybe that would have got him mad. It still would have worked and still would have been completely 100% Cain. Also, that would be really interesting to have a character of Harley Quinn being all talky, all out there, and Cain who's just silent. Those two, that dichotomy there, would have been an interesting thing to explore. So I think that's a missed opportunity. The other thing is, going into the movie, you know, I did want them to look more like they're in a comic book. This movie feels like a comic book film, but I don't think these characters necessarily feel like comic book characters. I would have liked them to dress up a little bit more, but this is an origin story, so they're getting there. As for Black Mask, I was completely fine with him not wearing the black mask the whole time. He wore it when it counted, and in this movie, and that was fine, because I really like seeing Ewan McGregor just completely own the scenes that he's in. All right, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think of the film. If you liked it, didn't like it, why or why not? I don't know, who cares? Let me know. And if you got something out of this video, please like, comment, consider subscribing, and sincerely, thank you for watching. I'm out.